Hi, so I've had a number of people asking about how to check and get information from Google Classroom and specifically Google Quizzes. So I'm just going to take a second and kind of demonstrate some of that. So here we are at a primary screen of a quiz that I have made in Google Forms. It's multiple choice in this case with 5 different options for each one. And more of a reading check than anything else. So one of the questions that some people have had is the setup. Now, the setup of quizzes should, if you go up to this gearbox right here, if you click on that, you can collect email responses. If you are using this and making it in your K-12 email address, you're able to restrict it to just South Dakota K-12 data center individuals, so that'd be literally anybody in the state that has a K-12 email address, including teachers or whatever else. One way to kind of limit who has access to it, but if you're only giving the link in Google Classroom, maybe not the most important. But the other part here that I've had a couple people ask about is this limit to 1 response. So this way you wouldn't have kids take this one multiple times. If you go down, you can let them see a summary chart and text responses. A summary chart is going to be a pie graph that's going to show them how they did, or what they answered in comparison to what other people answered. So if there were 5 or 6 students that answered the same way in comparison to 10 or 12 students that answered another way, the pie chart would illustrate that by having a bigger chunk of the pie to demonstrate the majority of the students that answered that way. So you can click that on or off. For this one, it's just more of a reading check, so I'm fine with them seeing how they're standing in comparison to the rest of the class. Presentation. This is where you'd have a progress bar if you were going to have multiple pages in your quiz. And then the other part right here is shuffle question order. I almost always do this. There's occasional time that I don't if I'm doing questions that are sequential. For instance, I might have them read a passage of a document and then have the first question be maybe about what the primary idea of the paragraph is or the excerpt, and then after that the next question might be about them applying that context. So then maybe I wouldn't shuffle the question order, but that's a possibility. And then the last one here is to make it an actual quiz. So if you make it a quiz, then this is actually going to allow for auto grading in Google Classroom. Now, the auto grading, there's other parts that oftentimes teachers that want to do this kind of overlook. Like you have to have a really clean and clear-cut key. For my multiple choice reading quizzes, that's super easy because literally the students have 5 choices and I can delineate between those pretty easily. If it's a more difficult kind of question to delineate between, then I might make some other decisions, and I'll show you those right here. So releasing grade immediately, this is multiple choice. I've already got the correct answers marked. I'm fine with that. If it's a short answer question test or quiz that I want to check their answers, then I can click on later manual review right here. All right, now here's the other things. And I've talked to a couple of people about this, if I have a test that people are going to be taking throughout the week and they need to take it by the end, then maybe I don't let them see the correct answers. Maybe I don't let them see which questions they missed until I'm all the way done with that week and I'm going to release the quiz. And people that didn't take it, they didn't take it, and you decide some other consequence for that. Maybe you're going to give them a second version of this with the order of the questions mixed up or the responses mixed up. That's fine. Now, if we were in school and we all had Chromebooks, it's a dream, isn't it? We can all have it. Then you would check the turn on locked mode and they would be locked into just that web browser. They wouldn't be able to open up other pages. Unfortunately, given the circumstances, students might be using their phone, might be using their home computer. We don't have the ability to necessarily do that. All right, so I'm going to click Save. It's going to make that. Couple of the other things that students, or I should say, sorry, that other administrators or teachers have had questions about. If you click on an individual question, then it's going to give you a far more kind of rich detail than what you had before. Like, here's my question, here are my options. This one has been marked correct. I marked it correct by clicking on the answer key right here. And then I have marked, I've clicked that one. Now you could have multiple answers correct. I'm not going to do that. But this page also lets you decide how many points you want this question to be worth, and if you want to give them feedback. So my reading quiz, you can have them have an incorrect answer. You need to look to this page. If they have a correct answer, this is the feedback they get. You could also link a YouTube video. Maybe it's a mathematic kind of question, and they need to revisit a particular concept or topic. You could find a video that kind of reinforces that. I'm going to click save when I'm done making my key. Then I hit done, and now I'm right here again. Now the required, that's pretty important. Just like if you're taking a survey or something, you need to require that so that people know that they need to take it. But the buttons next to that also give you the option to shuffle the option order. So these 5, although they look this way in my version, if I shuffle the option order, every student that takes it is going to have a different order of options listed here. So in this case, that's fine. But if I had something that said none of the above, then I would not want to shuffle this option order. Okay? So this is kind of our basic setup of quizzes. Once you get in here and you've had students take the quiz, then it might actually show up as a page that looks something like this when you click into it. All right, well, this is just taking the quiz, and I don't need to do that. I made it. So instead, what I would do is click over here to edit this form. If you are the owner of it, you should have editing rights for it. So you would click on that. That would take you to this. Now, these are the questions. This tab right here is going to show me the responses. So this is what students answered. Okay, so this is what they came out with their average score. This is their median score, and here's the range. I had one student get a 1 out of 5, and I had, looks like one student get a 5 out of 5, and the big brunt of my students got a 3 out of 5 on it. Then it'll actually give me a list of the frequently missed questions. So what was the most in this case out of 5 questions? Something on the Homestead Act. All right, then I can actually go down and I can see, and I'm not going to scroll down because I don't, there's some confidentiality issues probably. Emails, their score, and then if I've released their score or not. Okay, I can also go into individual questions, and I can see their individual, like each question, how people responded. Okay, I can click on all 15 of them, and I can see how people responded. I can scroll up and down. If they got it incorrect right now, it's showing me that too. And then lastly, I could click into individual. Okay, and with individual, it's going to give me a snapshot of how they answered these. Now, this is a multiple choice, so this might not be the most useful thing. However, if it was short answer, that might be more beneficial for me to be able to read their individual questions and answers. Okay, now the other thing, sometimes this right here gets checked off to that, and it tries to draw your attention to it, because if students try to take this right now, they'd be blocked from taking it. All right, so if you want them to take it, you need to make sure that that is checked on. Okay, if you have responses in there that you want to clean out, then you can click on the 3 dots right here and go delete all responses. I'll do that because it doesn't, at this point, it doesn't matter for me. Delete all, okay, and now all of a sudden, all of that, those options I had are gone. I can't get that back either. So I can, from here, I can do a couple of other things. Anytime you want to see what your quiz looks like, at least Google Forms has a preview button. And you can click on the preview button. It's going to show you exactly what your quiz is going to look like. The other thing that's probably important to note is you do have some customized abilities here. If you wanted to change the color, background color, the font, there's some basic stuff. You can choose a header image. And then the one other thing I'm going to show you is right down here where it says add-ons. Okay, if you click on add-ons, this is going to take you to the Google Marketplace, and one that I would specifically encourage you to use, or look at least, is Form Limiter. So Form Limiter actually gives you the capability to say, I want this quiz to automatically close on this date and on this time. So I've already installed it. You would click on here, and then you would click on the add-on. So let's see what that looks like. You'll get a button that pops up like this. And then you go to Form Limiter. And it's going to take a second, and then I'll get a pop-up that'll come up down here. Oh, we're still loading. That's probably part of it. Let's try that again. Form Limiter. I'm going to refresh because I was in that other screen, so maybe this will help solve the problem. Make sure it's all the way loaded. Ah, there it is. All right, so I have a little box right here. It says Set Limit. I'm going to click on that, and I get this box over here. And now from here, I can check day and time, or if I was looking for a certain number of responses. In this case, I'm just looking for a day and a time. And this is going to close on the day that I pick. So if I gave them this quiz today and I said, by Friday of next week, you need to take it, I would click on Friday the 3rd. And then if I wanted to add a date, I can get down to every 5 minutes. That's the smallest increment you can get. So I'd say, well, it's got to be taken by 12 a.m., 12 p.m. on the 3rd. And I'd hit set. And then this will actually email me when it closes. I'm going to click that off. I don't care. It can close. That's fine. I'm going to hit Save and Enable. And then you'll notice it said saved. All that information's in there. I can exit out of that. And now this will automatically close on Friday the 3rd at 12 p.m. And if students try to get in there after that, they're going to need me to open it up for them specifically. And what will end up happening is this will automatically get switched over to off. They won't accept any more responses. So then what I'd need to do is log into this and then check it again. There has been some questions as well about how do I, if I have 2 sections of the same class, I don't want all 50 of my kids to go in and take the same quiz, because then I'm trying to figure out who's who in that scoring area. The best thing I can tell you is to, when you get into this quiz, is to go in here and then make a copy and have these differentiated based off of the section. So if block 1 and 3 are the same class, then the normal one that I was just in, I'm going to leave blank, and then this one I'm going to label as block 3. Or, you could do quiz A. I have weekly quiz number 1A, and that to me is going to differentiate where this goes and who it goes to. I'm going to click OK, and now you're going to see I have this new one open. And maybe the only thing I need to change here is the title. Because remember, I've already clicked on change question order and change option order for my multiple choice quiz. It's going to be as random as I can make it, and probably more random than if I was in class with them giving them a paper quiz. All right, so this is very basic. We're not talking about short answer questions or anything like that. But one thing we should probably look at is specifically focused on how to create these perhaps integrated into a Google Classroom. So I'm going to actually have to probably log into one of my K-12 account here and then go to Classroom. And I'll show you one that I have some students that have already taken. So I go into Classroom, and then I'm going to go down to, I have a spot check that they've taken. Click into this, and from here I can hit import grades. Now I don't have any of these students that are currently have turned it in, but if this was I had a number right here, then I could hit import grades. It's going to say, are you sure you want to import grades? This is to a quiz that I've already made. I'm going to say yep. It's going to go to this quiz, which this is another way I can get to quizzes just by clicking on this. Here you go to that pencil to edit it. Okay, this is going to take me to just get their grades, and then once I have students that have green grades right here that'll be under turned in, I can click a box that says those students and hit return, and it's going to automatically return that grade. It's going to look fulfilled for them. Then I can come up to my grade transfer, grab my data. It's going to say who it's grabbed from, and then I would release it. I would go to my Infinite Campus and I would use grade transfer there and hit fill data. If you don't know how to use grade transfer, you can shoot me an email and I can try to answer that as well. All right, hopefully this has helped, and I wish you luck. And as always, you can reach out to me by email. Otherwise, a Zoom meeting, I can try to share my screen with you and show things there as well. All right, take care, everybody. Good luck.